Hey everyone, I know I've been away for a bit, 3 weeks to be precise, and it's pretty rare for me. No content, no YouTube, no uploads, but I've got a good reason for this. For those of you who thought I'd given up on YouTube, I haven't. 2 weeks ago, I had my 25-year reunion. It's been 25 years since we all graduated. Now, if you'd asked me back then if I would attend my reunion, I'd probably say never. Not a chance. Not because I was too busy or I don't have time for my friends, but honestly, I always thought that I didn't belong there. And today, I want to tell you why. And what really happened when I walked into the room full of people that I thought I barely knew, and what they taught me 25 years later. Let's go. College, the one place everyone tells you that you're going to make the best friends of your life. For me, it started with confusion and silence. You see, I wasn't born and raised into the city where I did my bachelor's, so it was a totally new experience for me. I was full of hope, looking to make new friends, get new experiences, and perhaps even write the best chapter of my youth. But in no time, in fact, in a matter of weeks, I quickly realized something. That I was an outsider. Why? Simply because I couldn't speak their language. Most of the people in the batch spoke Tamil, and I didn't. Sure, there were people who spoke Hindi, Urdu, and English, which I speak really well. But sooner than later, every joke, every late night conversation, every spark of connection would always eventually end up in Tamil. It felt like everyone knew each other. And I was struggling because I wanted to belong. I wanted to be part of those conversations. Every corner of the campus, canteen, main building, you name it, you would see groups of people chatting away, laughing, sharing jokes. You could notice that there was a special bond, all wrapped around this beautiful language called Tamil, which I, at that time, didn't quite understand. So what did I do? I tried learning it. Why? It's simple. I wanted to be part of those groups. I wanted to belong. In fact, every time I tried speaking the language, a lot of people would come down to me and tell me, please stop. You are butchering this language. I remember my seniors loved it though. They used to stop by the alley, in the corridors, between classes, in the canteen. They would ask me to say or sing something in Tamil. And every single time I tried to open my mouth, they would instantly burst into laughter. It was crazy. For them, I was quite the entertainment package. But I took it as an opportunity to learn. But every single time I spoke, they laughed harder and harder. It simply reminded me that I didn't belong there. So I did what most introverts do. They tend to disappear. And I convinced myself if I could get through these 4 years, somehow life will be wonderful after that. And boy, was I wrong. So I kept thinking, how do I get through these 4 years? It's going to be a big challenge, right? Because I don't speak the language. There were few friends who spoke what I could, but somehow something inside me kept telling me that I wanted to be part of those mini gangs by the canteen, by the library, in the main building, people walking to the college. I wanted to be part of those conversations. It just didn't happen. So my focus was on getting by those 4 years. What did I do? I came up with a plan. Cricket. There was an audition happening for the college cricket team from the first years. I went there, I got selected, I was in the college team. Eventually, I became the first year captain, second year captain, third year captain, and I became the captain of the college. Cricket gave me purpose. It gave me structure. I literally threw myself into the game. And something magical started happening right after. Along the way, I started making beautiful, wonderful, great friends. People who didn't care how I spoke the language or what language I spoke. They didn't really care how awkward I sounded. They saw me and they helped me survive. The next year, I got a few more friends. By the end of college, I had a good set of friends who somehow found a way to communicate. But if I look back, I remember I used to have a perception. Because I couldn't be part of those circles, I started categorizing them, especially the ones who were ignoring me, or at least that's what I thought they were doing. Even before they could reject me into their friendship circle, I started labeling them. I started telling myself that they're full of ego, they're rude, and they don't want to be friends. Maybe they were rude. Maybe they weren't. I would never know. So fast forward 24 years. I get a message. There's a 25-year reunion happening at the college, the same place where we did our bachelor's. The message was simple: let's get together, let's reset, let's reboot, and let's reunite. When I got the message, I couldn't help but stare at the screen. And I honestly thought to myself, absolutely not. I mean, come on. Why would I want to go back to the place where I was literally invisible for 4 years? Sure, I had a few friends. Most of the people I knew weren't coming. So there wasn't a great reason for me to go back. A few of the friends initiated a WhatsApp group, and slowly but steadily messages started appearing in the group, mostly from people I didn't know. And in no time, the group turned into a sea of names, DPs, old pictures of whom I didn't remember. But somehow, this time things were different. I started noticing that people were smiling at each other. People seemed funny, warm, and friendly. Even the ones that I thought who were cold back then, they were extremely friendly in the group. And to my surprise, a few of them directly addressed me as well. But here's the honest truth. I didn't really remember more than 90% of the people. And that's on me. Memories were really foggy. But the numbers started going up. We had about 20 registrations, 40, it creeped up to 60, 80, which I thought was a great number already. And in no time, it reached to a whopping 180 registrations. After reading all these messages, seeing the excitement, seeing people really want to go back to where they were 4 years ago, something inside me shifted. So I dropped my name on the list, part curiosity, part eagerness, and I told myself, let's go and see what happens. So the day finally arrived, and I kid you not, I was literally getting goosebumps. My stomach was doing somersaults. I felt like I was in first year all over again. It's weird. Out of the handful of people I knew, there were very few names who were coming, which also made me think, what am I doing? Why am I coming back to this place, especially now where half of the people I know are not even here? I instantly knew that I was going to be walking into a crowd full of strangers. So I did what I always used to do. I came in early. You see, old habits don't die. In fact, I was a student who once got called into the principal's office for having too much of an attendance. But that's a story for another day. But I can definitely tell you that everything was legit. So one of my friends picked me up along the way, and we get into the campus. First stop, canteen. The canteen was a spot that I spent a lot of time. We used to have a lot of conversations over there. It's all about meeting people during the break. As I walked into the canteen, I saw familiar walls, a bit of redecoration. Some of the spots that we used to spend hours, they've been broken down, newer walls, but I did notice they had a newer menu. As I walked in, I saw a couple of friendly faces. People I actually spoke and who were friends with me during college. They smiled, I smiled back, my nerves started to settle. The next stop, auditorium. We walked towards the auditorium, but the whole day was about to unfold. 9 a.m. was the reporting time, and I was already there. I looked around, a lot of unfamiliar faces, everyone looking around for somebody they know. So the first person I look at, I could remember him. Granted, I didn't know his name. I'm pretty sure I've had only 2 conversations with this guy, and I made eye contact. He smiled. So I walked up to him, we shook hands, I reintroduced my name and my department. And that very moment, something unbelievable and magical happened. The second I offered to shake my hands, he grabbed me and gave me a hug. He followed that with a warm, friendly smile. Now I'm thinking in my head that I'm pretty sure that there's probably 4 or 5 conversations I would have had with this guy over the 4 years. Why in the world is he so happy to see me? But I started feeling great. I looked at the next person around, walked up to him, and gave my hand. The same thing happened again. He smiled. He gave me a warm, friendly hug. That it wasn't out of politeness. It felt genuine. There was a heartfelt connection. By the time I'd walked through the room, I had hugged nearly about 100 different people. All genuine, all heartfelt. And here's what blew my mind away. Some of those people were people who never acknowledged me in college. People who I thought that I was no good for them. People who cut me off because I couldn't speak their language. People who were always in some exclusive circle. Today, they were giving me warm, friendly hugs, as if they were long-lost brothers. It felt like there was a glitch in the matrix. So what changed? Maybe we all did. I saw emotion, nostalgia, kindness spread across the room. I noticed that there were a core group of people who were spending months and perhaps even a year planning all of this together. To me, I think they had pulled the impossible. They had moved mountains to make this event happen. And somewhere in between all of this, something clicked in me. I began to realize that this isn't a reunion. This was a reminder that eventually we all grow and our mindsets evolve. So I want to share 3 takeaways with you. Number 1, language was never the barrier. I was. Sure, people were speaking the language at every corner of the campus, but I had given too much attention on the language. Honestly, if I look back right now, I had quit too soon. I had made assumptions too fast. I had built narratives inside my head and lived in them for 25 years. Narratives that kept on telling me that, Amin, you don't belong here. And they don't want you to be in their circle. Looking back, after connecting with a few people, I began to think that I did have a lot of good friends. A lot of good friends who somehow found a way to communicate with me regardless of the language. I remembered we laughed. I remembered that we bonded a lot. But somehow I never saw it for what it really was. And the reason is so simple, because I was so focused into being in the circle that I didn't realize that the circle had never been really closed. And you know who this reminds me of? A gentleman who applied for so many jobs once, including KFC, and was rejected every single time, simply because he couldn't speak the language. In fact, every time he tried to speak English, he was always laughed at. And every time he found a way to communicate in English, people always dismissed his ideas because of his accent. But this person didn't really give up. He practiced the language day in and day out. In fact, he would practice them on tourists, and he took this as an opportunity to strengthen and improve his language. He believed in connection before the perfection of language. And today, he's built one of the world's most valuable companies. He is no other than Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba. In his own words, he once said, "Never give up. Today will be hard. Tomorrow might be worse. But the day after, there will be sunshine." For me, it was the same. I thought that I didn't belong because I didn't speak the language. But today, I've realized that 25 years later, that you can still make wonderful connections. All you have to do is put in the effort. Which brings me to the takeaway number 2. You don't have to always be in the circle. Don't be obsessed by trying to be part of a group. Instead, do what you do, take the first step, find a way to communicate, and in no time you'll realize that you're already inside the circle. You see, as humans, we create filters. Wealth, accent, language, religion, status, background. And we use them as reasons not to try. It's so convenient to shift the blame on one of these. And then we walk away saying that we tried. But the fact of the matter is, most of the times, the door isn't locked. It's just waiting to be opened. This reminds me of a person who I admire a lot, Barack Obama. He wasn't born into influence. He didn't have deep political ties to the communities he served. But when he moved to Chicago as a young organizer, he didn't wait to be invited. He knocked on every single door, he introduced himself, he took the first step, and he listened to strangers. And those simple hellos built trust. And that trust turned into a movement. And that movement, well, it made him the first Black American president. And just like him, I realized 25 years later, the second I pushed the door open, I raised my hand, I said my first hello to the people whom I once thought never saw me, they were actually waiting with open arms. So the day unfolded beautifully, some formal and some informal events. And with every single event, there was spontaneous laughter, reigniting old memories and carving out new ones. There was laughter, jokes, lots of stories. They brought back old photos to life. And for once, I finally understood most of the inside jokes. All this because I decided to open my mind. The WhatsApp group was lit for days. People sharing nostalgic memories, a lot of jokes, sharing new memories, comparing them with old ones. Honestly, this was deeper than a reunion. And every single person was caring and kind. So why in the world this didn't happen 25 years ago? The answer is simple. It's because our mindsets had changed. Life humbles us. It strips away ego. Today, we've seen the world. We've lost, we've won. We've failed, we've learned. And the truth is, me not spending more time with a lot of guys back then, well, that was on me. To every single young person who's watching this video, if you are in college, university, starting a new job, I want to share something with you. Especially if you're introverted or you feel like an outsider. Communication is the key. And no, it's not about perfecting the language, but it's about taking the courage to connect. Take the first step and things will fall into place. Which brings me to the last takeaway. Number 3, don't wait 25 years to find out that the people around you were always open to being your friends. Forget language, money, status. The only barrier is your mind. Just remember, if we can become warm friends 25 years later, why can't we create 25 years of memories starting today? It's so simple. Believe it, think it, and live it. Take the first step, talk to people, and you would see how magical this journey is going to be. To my friends who came that day from 15 different countries, leaving their families, their busy schedules, their work, their commitments behind, thank you for making this happen. Thank you for reminding me that connection was never about words. It's always about effort and heart. Thank you for giving me the chance to reconnect again. I'm really grateful that I showed up. So if you ever get a chance to be at a reunion and you're thinking, nah, I've got tons of other things to do, my only advice is do not miss this opportunity.